Good afternoon and welcome to the 158th weekly MLP live stream. MLP Drawing School, not just MLP. I mean, it's about pony. Anyway, today we have joining us the ever fluffy Fluffy's Eye.
When
Yeah,
you
you can
get
hear the
painkillers.
squeak. And the ever Alley Claw.
Hello.
And there's a cute pencil case hidden in the background.
Hi.
I'm also here now.
Ah, there he is.
Give me it back.
So welcome everyone. Today we have 3 submissions so far. Remember, if you have art you would like critiqued, please submit it now and we'll critique it. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. Alright, let's set to work. We're going to do the bottom right hand corner first, because they are in our chat.
Is it just cute?
The little blue one.
Yeah.
The command line.
It's a little cute.
Alright, so this is by... Where is he? Flash Code. You there, Flash Code?
I'm gonna get to the Ricardo so I can see myself.
Have you considered looking in a mirror instead?
What? Is Picato in my mirror?
Well, no, but then you can see yourself.
See
It's
for
terrible.
myself.
Bad.
You suck, thumbs up. MLP
At Flash Code?
Drawing School.
Yeah.
That's Picato.tv/MLP Drawing School. But you don't need to be told this because you're already here if you're hearing it. Actually, that's not true. You could be on YouTube in the future. Hi,
Oh,
future
hi.
people.
Hi, future and past people.
Uh,
Didn't
How
you know
are we
we
supposed to
transmit this
past-
through space and time?
I guess we could try.
Already successfully doing.
Nice.
Alright, do you have any questions about your horsey here for us, Flash Code? Keeps forgetting who is talking, which makes it ignore the levels. Lame.
They said hi though. Hi, Flash Code.
Just a little pony. Makes mistakes from time to time. Just little horsey. Just little horsies.
Just a
I
boy.
hear whispers about horses.
This is the ASMR channel now.
Have
Hello.
many cute plushies. It's a great one. Like how Snook is. It's another.
Well, I'm gonna start doodling on this while I wait for a response. Helps if I don't doodle on the foreground. Nothing specific, but some advice on shadows would be nice. Well, he's not a very good hedgehog. He's got like fists and stuff. No?
See, if they're a hedgehog, the eyes connect as one.
Very true. See, I think having a little bit of shape here, we got like the temple and then the eye and then the cheek. You can actually have like a little bit of a gap. Given the direction they're facing, like if it's extreme enough, sure, the eye could be on like the side of the head shape. But for a lot of angles, specifically very gentle third quarter ones like this, it's very like that we'll see part of the head on the side. So how that should work is it'll bend in here and then bend back out again on the top of the head. This is the temple right here. And this little chubby cheek.
You want to boot them.
It's gonna have little cheek blushes. Or maybe the little round dimple blush. So cute.
With the yellow hair and the color you chose for the blush, it just makes me think of Pikachu.
It kind of does. just for the hair and tail because it's like spiky lightning sort of shape.
Mm-hmm.
Let's pull this chest in a little bit. The chest like sticks out very far. You don't want it. You don't want it to protrude too much. I think the neck needs a little bit of adjustment actually. Instead of pulling the chest back, let's bring the neck out. Here we go. Balance everything up a little bit.
I would also move the horn over. So I've drawn this middle line down the middle of your lovely, lovely face here. And that line basically splits the head in half. Their horn sits about 45 degrees off the center.
Yeah. Looking at the lines you've drawn, it's much more obvious now, like where the horn is placed. Sometimes it's hard to see that until you really break everything down, but that's why undersketching helps.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk shading. You want to do some shading. That is good. That is a good next step because you seem to have some solid lines and some good shapes. So why not explore more? Easiest way to start, grab your base color, slightly tint towards blue, and start laying it down. If you want to do just regular or just like cell shading like the one on our left here, where it is just essentially one color for all the shading, or one sort of hue shift for all the shading, where it just gets darker, that's easiest. But then you can start rolling into fancy, like doing diffused shading where it gets soft and it's all sorts of pretty and it starts turning stuff 3D. But I would suggest starting simple. Just lay down some
you just
soft
never want
shells.
to just go
like
further
these.
towards black. That never works as well. Darker, you want to use darker hues, like LD said, rather than like going. I mean, what you've got here is nice. The shading is very gentle, like with the back legs here. That's the only part, but that's a nice color. But just going like a lot of people we see sort of just like, oh, I'm going to use like darker colors, and then they just literally go further to black, and it's never very nice. There are so many different colors you can play around with, like with that adorable Pikachu, cute colors. If it's like placing the shading that you're worried about, that can be very tricky. I'm not the best at shading myself, but let's see.
Yeah, a lot about.
I always
placing-
like to. Oh, sorry, Annie.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say a lot about placing is just observing how shadows work. So
Yeah.
whether with a reference or an object in front of you, or even consider looking at a person, anything really that can cast a shadow. And you think about how something would be affected. Like we look at this pony, and I could say there could be shadow under the hair, under the chin. You did already darken the back leg, which is good. It's a good way to do it, but also any piece under the hair. It's a lot of being aware where your light source is and what your light source is hitting, so you know what will cast a shadow.
Yeah. What I like to do is draw up lines first, particularly like cell shading. I'll draw out lines first, and then I'll fill them out, just to sort of define like the shape of the body that's divided, rather than just shading in straight away. I'll like okay, the shading, the sort of area where it goes from like light to shadow falls here. That's specifically more for cell shading though, but although when I do soft shading, I actually do cell shading first, and then I like soften and blur it. For some stupid reason, I'm just really silly.
Hey, there's 1,000 techniques out there.
Yeah.
If it works for you, then it works for you.
I just feel like with airbrushes, it's too easy for it to like this thigh here, it would like spill over here. It's like, no, I don't want it to do that.
Does that make sense for you there, Flash Code?
So let's get that bean belly in.
So we want to thin out that back of the tail.
Yes.
No. Yeah. You're on a great path here. I'm loving what I'm seeing. Some minor corrections, some pushing forward with your cell shading, and yeah, I I'm excited to see what you come up with in the future out of it.
Seeing, keep arting.
It is the best way of improving, is by doing more.
True that.
Yeah, I just made a few little more corrections. So. Simple things.
Also, don't forget your other ear. Other ear, it's an important thing to have.
Pull the bottom of these eyes in a bit more towards the bridge of the nose, I think. There we go. Super cute. Ah! I instinctively press C, because on Clip Studio Paint, that like takes you to a razor, and then like it flips the canvas upside down on the ear. I just suddenly go inverse gravity, and it confused me.
Alright, well, let's go on to the next one. It's gonna be this lovely little red and yellow horse.
Oh,
Orange.
so cute.
See, this is me with like every holiday when it comes to like making art. It's like it's only like 4 weeks after, sure. Or whatever holiday it happens to be.
I only uploaded my Valentine's little ponies today.
I really wish I could have. Like, I have this whole blog and everyone's like, Spirit Wind and his waifus. And like, I didn't do a Valentine's Day picture because I haven't been drawing for ages, so I'm really bad with it.
You really missed out on a chance.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I've got to do just like a 6-month late one, it's fine.
Derby put it in the mail and it got lost.
Yeah.
Alright, so this one is by Lucardo117, and it's a moderately late horse for Valentine's Day. Remade my first post here, Punk, about 2 years ago for the holidays. Thanks for the help over these few years. On the topic of critique, I'm trying to go for more realistic wings on top of some new facial expressions. Holy cow, have you ever improved over 2 years, buddy?
Oh yeah, seriously. Some cutie patootie.
Actually, I should do one wing and then Ali should do the other wing. Just so we have like two different like opinions.
Do it.
'Cause I'm not like super great with wings. I'm okay with them.
So I'm trying
Sometimes
to
they
figure
come out
out.
really well for me and then sometimes they don't. But remember your joints. Mainly the thing I'm looking at here is that your wings are sort of just coming out from the back there.
Mhm.
But they're arms. They got little arm joints. This is the elbow and this is like the wrist. If you imagine the wing is coming out as fingers, that's basically what bird wings are. You can see it much more clearly with like bat wings and stuff.
You can see clearly now the wings are gone. Wait. I would enlarge the hooves a bit. If we're going for standard MLP, which it appears for the most part you are, short of the more realistic wings, your hooves sit about half a head size. So blip, blip, blip. I would bring that size down to the hooves. Big hooves are adorable too. They're just like big squishy marshmallows that go out and boop things.
And boop boop.
Little ones would be like drilling for oil. They're like walking on stilettos.
Oh, and I know some other. I believe I saw them post on our critique channel. Awesome, everyone who watched. If you come to our Discord, we have like a critique channel, and we have an art channel, and you can just talk with people, and get feedback when we're not here. It's a great place. You should check it out if you have.
It's a lovely. It's honestly my favorite place on the internet now.
But if I remember correctly, they were having issues with the wink, having trouble with it.
Wink.
I don't think it's really that bad, honestly. But maybe we can thicken out the eyes a little bit. I don't know if it's a boy or a girl, but here we go. Boys can have pretty eyelashes too.
What? No, they're plucked out. They fall off.
Oh, yeah,
at
they've got
birth.
eyelashes on this eye, so in either case, it's appropriate to have lashes on the other eye as well. And here I'm just giving the eye a bit of a less round shape because sometimes that looks a little bit off-putting.
Yeah, the only thing like I've noticed that makes the wink seem off to me is that the face feels really flat because it looks like it's slightly turned because the one cheek's larger than the other, but the face itself is still trying to be centered, but it's off center. So there's a lot of things playing, especially if you look at the ears. The ears feel like the face is slightly turned, so it's not quite like front view. We have a battle going on with like a slight turn, and so like the little stuff like that can make something feel off sometimes. It's me being picky maybe, or just something I just always noticed where
Actually,
even if you move a little bit,
yeah.
you just feel that. You just feel it. Even if you don't know what it is, you just feel it.
I'm actually going to do an experiment. I'm going to. Oh, can I get the right tool to do this? No. Draw pile is, as usual, very silly. Let me see if I can just grab this so I can see a little bit more clearly now that the eye is gone. And now I can switch my pen and I can do this. Ah, no. What am I? I said eraser. Why would the eraser do this to me? It did the opposite. It placed ink. It's silly. Why is it orange now? Ah, this program. So confusing. It just does what it wants. It doesn't like have any kind of consistency. It's so weird. Okay. I feel like the eye is very big. It's also like cutting into where the ear is. So let's just dial this back a bit. Have a bit more of a nice angular shape. I have like very triangular shaped eyes, but that's just me. You don't have to do it like this, but I think this is nice. And I'm just showing other ways that it can be done. And it's a nice pretty eye. Speckles. And now the ear should be more like here, this sort of place. It's a very, very big ear, and it's also like just cutting right into the side of the head where the eye is. So you think of the ear being like this sort of cone shape like this. This is very hard to see with the lines. Hold on. What I've done is make the ear white. It is sort of worth considering how the sort of cartoony style we know from the show came to be from, because it is a cartoonish representation of horses in real life. So sometimes, and this goes for people as well, with like anime or cartoons or whatever, they are styled after life. Like anime actually has a lot. Like we always think about the sort of exaggerations, like big sparkly eyes and whatnot, but like a lot of anime is very like realistically done to like human form studies a lot of the time, depending on what it is. But it's it's very clear to see like how, because typically with older anime they did start very like realistically proportioned, because they were studied from real life. You know, they were styled after real life humans. So it's also worth looking at horses. How do the ears form? How did the MLP staff come up with like this this image of how the ears look in cartoon? How can I do that? I hope this looks a little bit better anyway. You can also stand to break up the mane a little bit rather than it being in solid blocks. But you don't have to.
Alright, we ready to move on to the next one?
Let's do this.
Scrolly, 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 scrolly up. So this one is by Super Moxie, and I made this drawing for my Valentine's Day. I spent a lot of time on this one. I'm proud of the results, and it's my best drawings or it's one of my best drawings. Any helpful suggestions is appreciated. I would love to read some feedback. Unfortunately, you can't read this feedback. This is vocal.
You have to watch and listen.
I guess you could turn on the auto closed captionings, maybe?
Yeah, I was about to say we could get some pretty great lines going on there.
I feel like this book disappears into. Oh, I can't. I have no color. What's happening?
Check
This
your
book
layer.
sort of disappears inside the cupboard. If you look, just change the angle that the book's at. I think a little bit.
I can definitely tell you put a lot of work into this, which is awesome to see.
Yeah, this is a really good bit. Like something I would have to go into like the grayscale values, whatever. But something about the characters just really is like easy to see and like it jumps out at you. And it's really nice. Like the atmosphere and color of the pictures just feel really good.
So, a few notes that have been placed on this by Deluxe Flame is the cup and the lava lamp look off for some reason. It's almost like they were just stickered into the picture. I don't know if it's a shading thing or what's up. Carpet looks out of focus. It's fuzzy, or is it just fuzzy and warm? Definitely
Yeah,
looks
it does
way
kind of-
out of focus.
It might be like a texture they put on or something. I don't know.
Dresser missing a shadow. Yes.
Yeah, it could, yeah. Dresser does need a little bit there.
So do. Guess that lava lamp's very bright.
The lava lamp, there's definitely like coming from not the lava lamp.
I miss my love.
Yeah, there has to be something else. Because the lava lamp's casting a shadow too.
I can see
like-
that it's like the base is sort of. Oh, I can't draw again. The base is sort of casting a shadow, and then like the light. But I think it should be more like here, honestly, and then the light spilling out here.
I think something that makes these objects feel a little out of place. I know backgrounds are hard for everyone. Everyone has trouble with them. Some people have fun with them, but you know, something is that this background is very unpopulated. It's very sparse. It feels like there's not enough there. Like you look at your home and you just see an empty corner with a cupboard and 3 books. Like look
Yeah,
around your own
Maybe
environment.
have like a
There's-
plant there or a desk,
Maybe they
there's
just
usually-
moved in.
a giant bear plushie.
you know
that
what?
can
They
just, like,
could've.
snuggle into.
They could have,
Right.
but
It's in a cold place. You need a big plushie to hug.
something about this scene you want to invoke warmness.
Yeah.
And, you know,
A
like
poster or like a wall
coziness.
banner or something.
so having such like a stark
Yeah.
blankness behind them, you can definitely add a more homey feel by really filling in that background. And I know it's sometimes hard where backgrounds become an afterthought instead of a thought with the characters, because the background's just as much as a character you're drawing. It
Yeah.
plays such a huge part into the image itself. And while all like the details of the the boards of the house, the windows, the cupboard you have there, they're fantastic, but they can use more. Like blank walls are, as all humans see them, blank walls, empty. So like that emptiness could be filled in with more stuff, and maybe the stuff you already have drawn will feel more in place. Because it feels like, especially with the blurred carpet, where you have the mug completely sharp, but the carpet blurred, and the mug and the carpet are at the same spot. I can see blurring the carpet to have more of a focus on the characters themselves. Sure, absolutely. But maybe the mug has a little blur to it, or, has some way to connect with the carpet. Because right now you have a very stark, clean outline on the mug, but a blurred carpet. So there's not much interaction happening. Like if you place something on a carpet, maybe the item slightly sinks in just the littlest bit, because carpets are a little squishy. Just little things like that can really help.
So the characters obviously are meant to be interacting. It looks like she's supposed to be leaning on him, just snuggled in there. Unfortunately, the feeling I'm getting from them is there's like a separation between the two characters.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is he doesn't seem to be reacting to the pressure she's putting on him.
looking at the way this wing is drawn, that like looks much nicer as like you can imagine him sort of pulling her in. But it'd be even better feeling now if he was like down here, like right next to her. If that makes any sense.
I think I would just transport her over.
Yeah, either way, as long as they were like together, but like yeah.
Yeah, just bring her over here, basically.
Like their legs touching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that's gonna further enforce this because her body's leaned, right? So it's gonna further give that impression of that she's leaned against him. I would also lean his body with her, but then turn the head in. That way you can get that head resting on head snuggle.
Yes. And you can do little things too. Like right now you have her ear perfectly like ear shaped. Maybe that ear can be, because ears are soft and flexible, that could be bent in a little bit because it's leaning against his cheek, you know? It loses that shape and becomes a little disformed.
Same as using the hair for that type of stuff. Just giving it more impression that it's actually forced in against the character.
Yeah. Drawing characters together like this is like really, drawing interaction is really hard, especially with like heads and how like the like ears and hair and everything like starts to overlap one another, and it's like, how do I like show these characters together? I think drawing a picture, like just drawing it once can really be just doing it roughly can really give you a good idea. And then so like what we're looking at now is like moving these characters together. That's not something you're gonna do. I know you're not gonna like just redo this entire picture to and redraw the characters completely when this is already clearly finished and like move them together. And we wouldn't recommend it. It's best just to leave things done and move on to the next picture. But something like this, like drawing an idea like this first is easy to sort of get like the trepidation out of the way, if that makes sense. Like you're focusing so much on trying to draw the characters and how do I draw them, how do I have them near each other, and then you start seeing all these ways in which they can be interacting that you sort of didn't have before, and you think, oh, I can move them together, I can show this, I can do this, and you can use the first draft as a reference point in where to move forward with the next with doing it again. So I think drawing something once, maybe not quite as little as just thumbnailing helps definitely, but maybe like just doing a full just like rough sketch draft. And then, yeah, like what CBC is doing there is kind of what I was imagining. And then just really pushing and exaggerating the closeness and like just having them like different parts wrapped around each other and interacting, rather than just having the two characters in sort of one space of their own, like how you've done. So drafting and rough sketching, thumbnailing, just general planning is really good, because if you can get this sort of like, okay, that was alright, but now I see all these ways that I can push them together, and then you have more room then to exaggerate and experiment.
Absolutely. And
no salami showdown, not lewd.
But yeah, I still think you should be proud of what you've done. Don't think our critique is making this in any sense that you need to redo it. This is just stuff to consider for next time.
Yeah.
This is great, honestly.
Like I was saying, we don't expect you to just like redo this entire thing.
Exactly.
And you shouldn't. It looks great.
But if you want something to practice, the key things we've mentioned are pretty much interacting with things, you know? Characters interacting with things, characters interacting with backgrounds, objects interacting with backgrounds, objects interacting with characters. You know, that kind of connection when you're drawing something that stuff interacts with stuff, and it's good to practice it and sketch it and do it multiple times instead of, you know, just once and go with it sort of a thing.
Yeah. So Maze Temporal did bring up a point about how square the faces are. So your muzzles are actually cubes sticking off the head, which, weirdly enough, we often say you should totally be using cubes to build it off. But then we also suggest you take a power sander to those sides of the cubes and grind them down until there's cute, squishy little buns. So I think I would go with that as just round off those edges. I know it's so tempting just to do a hard edge and be like, boom, boom, look, it falls off the side of the face. I don't have to do any soft shading here. So tempting, but it's going to remove that squareness if you just sort of take the blending brush and just touch those edges.
Yeah, because like honestly, I think the shape of the male and the female are fine. It's just the shadows
Yeah.
are so hard that it solidifies it as a cube instead of being, soft and natural. Especially on the female's nose, just
Yeah.
because it's such a cartoon shape that you're doing such nice shading that it kind of breaks the feel of everything else being soft because the nose is so hardly shadowed. Even the ears have a nice soft slope to them. In their
Yeah.
shading, there's no real just
Oh,
block.
I love the curve this ear has as well. It's lovely.
Mm-hmm.
But I personally don't really like the super square muzzles. I like them to be rounded. But like they definitely have like an edge, this top edge here. But even that sort of is going to have rounded-ish corners. It's not going to be super harsh. And then like the underside and more so, it doesn't just like fall flat like this. It has a slope to it. I think that like if you look at the nose from like top down, it isn't like this. It's like a little baby snoot. So it's got to have like that roundness to it. But so and also personally, I like the sort of angle that the mare's nose is at. The stallions looks like it's like going a bit too far down. I know like real life horses, their faces are very like angled downwards, but like MLP clearly has the snouts quite like perky, and I think it works very nicely. So I try to avoid the snouts pointing too far downwards.
I think something that could help with the girl's snout is that because of the way it's shaded, it doesn't feel like she has a chin. It kind of is like the upper part sticking out and then the rest of her face. So if you maybe even lightened up that area a bit to show that light could hit the side of the chin area and just have a little bit. She doesn't need, a major muzzle, just a little slope that'll connect out. Because when we look at from the side, it's just this is really shitty. I'm drawing with my bad hand because I'm doing something. Anyway, it's got like a slope. So right now I feel like we're seeing this portion of it, and we're missing just a little chin there. Yeah, super cute overall. Yeah.
All right. Anyone else have any art they'd like critiqued? Any other questions they'd like to ask? If not, we'll call this a week too. Like every week.
Whoa, what if we called it a day?
Feels like a day to me. Time just like moves so quickly now. Sneaky pony, stealth pony. Okay. So if there's no more art, everyone should come and join our Discord, where all the fun happens.
All the fun, all the time.
All right then. Well, if no one else has any art or any other questions, then we'll be calling it a day. Thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you again next week. Stop screaming. Bye.